Forwards tonight have scored, and that'll be a massive thing for them too.
Yeah, it's a huge one. So Burnley are heading in the right direction, but they've managed to pull themselves out of the bottom three. We've very shortly, in about 10 minutes' time, we'll be kicking off here. Chelsea against West Ham United in a London derby. David Moyes has never beaten Chelsea away in 15 visits for all of his clubs. He'll be hoping to put that right. We'll hear from him and, of course, from Frank Lampard.
I think he's doing a great job. They have good players, but you know the way they're playing and the consistency they've got to the levels they've got this season been really impressive, because I think he's a experienced, very, very good manager who's obviously got his message across to them, and they're playing really well. The organisation of their team, the style that they play in is difficult to play against. They had threats on the counter-attack. They're very good at set pieces, so they're just playing really well. They're clearly a well-managed team.
We'll do our best. We're in good spirits ourselves. You know, we've been on a run of good results. You know, we can play better, but we also know that we've got a resilience about us at the moment, and we want to keep it going. We want to stay up near the top if we can. It's much better than it's been over the last year or so, looking at ourselves near the bottom three, so we want to try and stay away from that as much as we can.
Any goal scorer will want to score regularly, simple answer, but must have the mental toughness and confidence to go through periods, because everyone will go through them. Absolutely every striker. There's not been a striker in the history of the world that can manage to score game in, game out for a long career, so there's no problem on that front. He needs to remain confident, he needs to keep getting in the areas, and those goals will come without a doubt.
But more importantly, the players have got themselves in a really good condition. You know, our fitness levels have improved, our attitude. So I think all round we have improved. But again, you know, it's small steps. We're by far the finished article, and we've got a long way to go. And I can see lots of bits which I can improve and add to it as we go along. But you know, that takes time.
That's the thoughts of Frank Lampard and David Moyes. Frank Lampard, in the middle of that interview, was talking about Timo Werner, who has hit a bit of a dry patch. He hasn't scored in 8 games, the German. He admitted this week that he found adjusting to the Premier League from the Bundesliga, who's rattling them, and of course for RB Leipzig he's their record goal scorer. I mean, a couple of things, Paul. Is it a good idea to say publicly that you're struggling, and you know, is he good enough to make a real fist of it?
I read some of the comments he said about obviously the physicality is a lot different and it's a lot harder in the Premier League, which we all know that, but like you say, to come out publicly is probably a bit too much, because you're obviously playing against players every day, and you don't want people knowing that. But you can see he's a good player. I just think he needs to adapt, and he probably took him a lot longer than Frank Lampard obviously thought, but he stuck by him. He keeps sticking by him, and I think once he gets 1 or 2 goals, he'll be firing on all cylinders. But the physicality side, he needs to get to grip sooner rather than later if he wants to stay in the Chelsea team.
Absolutely. One player I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'm hoping he stays fit, is Christian Pulisic. I mean, he's had all kinds of problems with injuries, but he's a genuinely exciting player, isn't he? I love the way he moves. He just seems to glide rather than run, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's fantastic, and I think once they lost Hazard, he was the one they was on about going to be the next Hazard. So he's got big shoes to fill, but I think potentially he can fill them, and he just needs, like you say, he needs to stay fit and have run of games now.
Yeah, and West Ham, I mean, Sébastien Haller, he's their top scorer in the Premier League, and I don't think I've ever seen a better overhead kick than the one that he managed to connect with and score against Palace last time out.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I think he's found it hard to adapt, but slowly but surely I think he's adapting to the way the West Ham team play, what the manager wants from him, and they're getting the best out of him as much as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. He's in for the injured Mikel Antonio, who's still not fit enough even for the bench tonight. So, an empty Stamford Bridge, unfortunately, with London in Tier 4, but both sets of fans will be looking and listening on, hoping that they can come out on top in this West London versus East London derby, which kicks off in a moment. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, Titanium Plasmatronic Death Droids from the Future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against West Ham United from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Liverpool, West Ham and England defender, Paul Konchesky. This is Premier League London derby, in which both teams could do with the 3 points, not least Chelsea. They're in 8th position at the moment, which is well below where they would want to be after 13 games. It's their worst start in the Premier League for 5 seasons. West Ham are enjoying their best start to a Premier League season ever in the current format, 21 points from 13 games. They're just a point behind Chelsea. If they were to win, as they did home and away against today's opponents last season, the Hammers would jump up potentially above Southampton into 6th place. The team news sees Chelsea without Olivier Giroud. He's not injured, but he's dropped to the bench. Tammy Abraham comes in. Jorginho's in midfield for Kai Havertz, and Cesar Azpilicueta replaces the injured Reece James at right fullback. West Ham have Fabio Balbuena fit again. He comes in for Issa Diop at the back, while Martin Noble, their veteran one-club man of a captain, comes in place of Said Benrahma. It looks as if both teams are going to play 4-3-3. We've got a close-up on our monitors of Mason Mount, who his boyhood best friend, and they're still best mates, is Declan Rice. They grew up together. Rice was a Chelsea youth team player alongside Mason Mount. The two families are still very close, but tonight it's opposite ends of the pitch for those two. The Hammers are wearing claret and blue. Chelsea, as you'd expect, are wearing all blue. It's such a shame that we had that brief window where we thought that fans would be able to come back for a stretch of time back to the empty stadium again, but the players will be giving their all, no doubt, to try and put on a spectacle, and more importantly for them, to earn valuable points. Chelsea have Edouard Mendy in goal, who hasn't kept a clean sheet in 3 after his fantastic start. Cesar Azpilicueta, Kurt Zouma, Thiago, Silva and Ben Chilwell across the back. In midfield it's N'Golo Kante, Jorginho and Mason Mount. Up front, Christian Abraham and Timo Werner, who's looking to end an 8-game spell without a goal. Lucas Fabianski is the Hammers keeper. In front of him, Vladimir Coufal, Fabian Balbuena, Angelo Ogbonna and Aaron Cresswell. Then it's Declan Rice, Mark Noble and Thomas Soucek up front. Jared Bowen, who turned 24 yesterday, belated happy birthday to him. Sebastian Haller and Pablo Fornals. Frank Lampard knows all about West Ham United, of course. He started his career there. His uncle, Harry Redknapp, a former manager and player at West Ham, came to Chelsea, of course, and achieved enormous success. And he's up against David Moyes today. The two met in the 2009 FA Cup final. Moyes was manager of Everton. Lampard was Chelsea's attacking midfield player, and he scored the winning goal at Wembley. Here's an early ball in from Chelsea, which is repelled quickly by West Ham United, but it's a bright start by the home side as Kurt Zouma wins the ball and finds Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva, the 36-year-old former Paris Saint-Germain player, plays it into N'Golo Kante, and then Chilwell to Werner. Werner down the left-hand side finds Mason Mount. Mason Mount just outside the penalty area at the moment, switches onto his right foot, tries to cross, it's knocked away by Balbuena and then hit by Jorginho. Crash! That was the ball hitting the advertising hoarding between the lower and upper tiers of the Matthew Harding stand, but it's been a bright start by Chelsea.
Yeah, been fantastic. They're on the front foot, taking the game to West Ham, and West Ham can't get a foothold in the game. Yeah, and I think Frank Lampard will be absolutely delighted with the start.
Yeah, it's been a good start so far for Chelsea. Aaron Cresswell got the deciding goal in that one, and they won by 3-2 in a thriller at the London Stadium when Andrei Yarmolenko's late winner got it for West Ham. Sebastian Haller is offside as West Ham look to get forward for the first time. The referee tonight is Chris Kavanagh. West Ham, another odd statistic which I must confess I didn't know off the top of my head. This is their 80th Monday night fixture. No team in the Premier League era has ever played more Monday night games than West Ham. Here's Jorginho trying to find Chilwell. It's intercepted by Soucek though. Now it's Haller, tall figure. If you haven't seen it, find it, look at it, it's brilliant. The technique is absolutely extraordinary. Their last 2 games, they were good against Tottenham as well. They're looking to launch their first attack here. It is Cresswell, that goal scorer from last season. And once again the whistle blows. What's going on here? Chilwell's got injured, I think, on the near side. How will West Ham approach this one? They've put Mark Noble between Rice and Soucek, so you could argue that's a slightly negative move, withdrawing Benrahma, who's more attacking. Do you get the impression that David Moyes will be relatively happy with a draw here?
I think putting Mark Noble in the middle, it gives licence for Declan Rice and Soucek both to go into the box. So maybe that's another number. They're getting into the box from crosses from Bowen and Fornals. I think if you go to Chelsea and you can nick a point, I think any team, top, middle or bottom, I think you'd be happy. So, but I don't think David Moyes will play for the point. I think he will try and get the 3 points, but we'll take a point tonight.
Yeah, we mentioned Jarrod Bowen's 24th birthday yesterday. He's just collided with Ben Chilwell, whose 24th birthday it is today. But he's not enjoying it very much at the moment, Chilwell, because he's got a couple of Chelsea physios administering his left leg, which looks injured. So there's a bit of a gap here. He looks a little bit groggy as well, Chilwell, but it's still, I beg your pardon, that they're spraying, hoping the magic spray does its job. Happy birthday to Ben Chilwell. He'll want to end it on the winning side, but at the moment he's suffered a bit of a painful blow, so there's nothing actually going on at the moment. How do you assess David Moyes' second spell in charge of West Ham? I think there are a few raised eyebrows perhaps when he came back, but he rescued them from relegation the first time. They didn't get relegated last season, but he looks to have pushed them on a bit.
Yeah, he has, and I think he's got the way David Moyes wants to play as a team, as units. I think he's got that bedded into the team now. He's had that second time around, and most of the players are still there. So I think they've all bought into what David Moyes wants to do, and it's proven this season.
Yeah, here's Haller. He's also been able to name a relatively unchanged side, hasn't he, compared to a lot of the managers in the Premier League. Haller's now gone down. Goodness me, we haven't had much football in the last couple of minutes. Haller's got a bang on the back of the neck by the looks of it as he crashed into Jorginho. He's alright, he's still rubbing his neck slightly. They can be a bit painful, those, but the tall Frenchman's back on his feet. Cresswell takes a clever free kick. It's Rice round the keeper and in. Brilliant goal by West Ham. They caught Chelsea cold, but I'm not sure it's going to count. What a shame for West Ham. It was a clever, quick free kick, and Rice got onto it, rounded Edouard Mendy, stuck it into the net. But as we're seeing on a freeze frame here, unfortunately for you, Paul, I think it is just a shade offside.
Yeah, I think it was offside, but very, very clever from obviously Cresswell and Declan Rice getting eye contact and sliding it down the side. It'd be devastating for Chelsea as a young kid, and going back there, he would love to have scored.
Yeah, composure though from him. I mean, it's not the sort of goal you'd necessarily associate it with, dancing around the keeper, but he's been fantastic this season. Declan Rice. Don't forget you can join the commentary via Twitter at TalkSport Live. My friend Joe Ely is listening to us. Good afternoon, John, from a sunny Indiana in the USA. Very quiet office pre-Christmas here, so can turn up the volume while at work. Merry Christmas. Same to you, Joe. Here's Werner. Paul's taken off his toe. Yeah, no Christmas parties this year for anyone, unfortunately, with so many people working from home. Footballers, of course, not able to work from home. They're putting on a show for us here. It's Pulisic to Kante. Chelsea have it wide on the right-hand side. Azpilicueta. And then the low ball in, which was blocked, came in from Pulisic. Doesn't look well. He's back down on his backside, and I'd be surprised if he carries on. He's shaking his head, Paul. I think that tells you that he's, unfortunately, we're looking at it. Complete accidental clash between him and Bowen, but as Bowen just brushed against Chilwell's ankle, you could see it bend over in an eye-watering manner, and it could be that Chelsea will have to change quickly. In fact, they're already preparing Emerson.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a nothing collision. Just Bowen's passed the ball and caught his studs in Chilwell's right ankle, and he's fell awkwardly, and he can't run that knock off.
It's a shame, isn't it? The last thing he wanted for his 24th birthday was an ankle injury, but he's off with only 9 minutes played. And Emerson, the Brazilian-born Italian, who's by no means a regular at Chelsea, has come on early. Chelsea have a corner. It's an outswinger, and it's headed in by Thiago Silva. Bullet header from the Brazilian, and Chelsea have the lead. Well, he couldn't have connected with that any better, Thiago Silva, and from the moment it left his forehead, the net was always going to bulge, and it did. Chelsea 1, West Ham 0.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great ball in from Mason Mount, and I think Thiago Silva's lost his man on the edge of the box, and it's a bullet header, like you say. As soon as he's left his head, it's always rustling the net.
Really good header, firm. Kurt Zouma's been the specialist there. West Ham, I don't think, will be particularly happy that Silva has managed to find himself a gap there, hasn't he? He's between Ogbonna and Allaire as he heads in.
Yeah, it was fantastic movement of whatever Zouma's done to Chelsea.
Yeah, great start for Chelsea. Thiago Silva's second goal for the club. He netted against Sheffield United in October. That was a 4-1 win here. So the early impetus goes to the club from West London in blue. Thiago Silva on the ball here. Great header, finds Emerson, who's just come on for Ben Chilwell. He's got a very distinctive peroxide top to his hair, Emerson. He's not a regular by any means. It's only his 8th appearance of the season, but he's got 80 minutes of the game. Here's Emerson on the ball now, wearing number 33. Thinks about a cross, but instead plays it short to Timo Werner. Werner's wearing gloves tonight. I thought it was pretty mild, actually. Nowhere near the gloves, me. Anyway, here's Azpilicueta. Another cross for West Ham to deal with, and they do. It's an outstretched boot by Cresswell. It's another corner, and West Ham will have to defend this one better than they defended the last one.
Yeah, you think so, but Chelsea are getting in down the flanks. Both fullbacks are pushing on really high and getting beyond West Ham, and the crosses in the box are dangerous and cutting them out but giving corners away, so it's another chance for Chelsea to get the ball into the area.
It's going to be another outswinger by Mason Mount. Chelsea have got 5 players in the box. Thiago Silva is now joining them. Bowen is keeping an eye on him at the moment. It's another outswinger. This time West Ham have dealt with it well. Soucek with a towering header away, and Emerson plays it all the way back to Edouard Mendy. Chelsea, of course, beaten twice by West Ham last season. It was the first time West Ham had done the double over Chelsea since 2003. They've never won 3 in a row against them in the Premier League. Here's Mason Mount in towards Tammy Abraham, away by Balbuena. They're a little bit under siege at the moment, West Ham United, as Mason Mount just rolls it back, and all of the game is being played inside the West Ham half at the moment, as Kurt Zouma finds Jorginho, and now Kante spreads it to the near side. It's Emerson trying to get into the penalty area. Does so, Emerson. Tees up Kante. Kante plays it square to Jorginho. Clever little flick. There's the ball in. Oh, my goodness me. Werner was a millimetre away from making it 2-0. The low ball in. Very, very dangerous. Werner just couldn't quite get his toe to the ball. He'd love to have done, because it would have ended his 8-game goal drought. It was Mason's delivery again, and he's causing all kinds of havoc down that right-hand side.
Yeah, fantastic play from Chelsea from one side to the other. But a clever little ball into Mason Mount, and what a fantastic ball. He's just waiting for someone to tap it into the goal, and like you say, Werner would have loved to just tap that in and get him up and running.
Absolutely, but didn't get a touch, so it's still 1-0 to Chelsea. Lucky Alada joins us. Great commentary, guys. Chelsea will pulverise West Ham by 4-1 tonight. This is Stamford Bridge, and we are the Blues. Well, West Ham haven't been the sort of team that get rolled over this season so far. Chelsea, of course, have lost their last 2 games at Wolves and at Everton by narrow margins. Keep the tweets coming. We'll endeavour to read out as many as we can. Here's the goal scorer, Thiago Silva. He's given Chelsea the perfect platform, possibly to go back, potentially into a position in the table where you might more reasonably expect to find them than their current position of 8th. They will move up to 5th if they game. Here's Jorginho. Slow build up from Chelsea. Benjamin Snyder, great job, guys. I'm listening in Birmingham, Alabama, and predicting a 3-2 Hammers win. Paul Konchesky will be hoping that turns out to be true. Oof, that's a bit loose from West Ham, and Abraham has won the ball and finds Werner. Werner flicks it back towards Jorginho, who's had one shot already but not on target. Then he finds Pulisic. Pulisic does well to keep the ball alive. It's all Chelsea at the moment. Timo Werner back to Emerson. Emerson, short ball to Mason Mount, who's now wide on the left hand side. Comes back to Thiago Silva. 15 minutes played at Stamford Bridge. Just a reminder that Burnley beat Wolves in the earlier game tonight by 2-1 and lifted themselves out of the bottom three. Azpilicueta tries to keep the ball in. Did he keep it in? No, he did not. The flag's gone up. Players continuing. The ball's in the net, but it won't count for anything. Tammy Abraham has scored. But the flag had long since. I don't think anyone in blue realised. Sian Massey-Ellis is the assistant referee on that far side, and she had her flag up long before Tammy Abraham tapped the ball into the net, because Azpilicueta clearly, and we're seeing it again, did not keep the ball in play. Or did he? Was it clear? I don't know.
I think the post is in our way from our angle.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. You can't see through that, you're right, but I think she got it correct. Here's Allaire with a back header, and Emerson back to Edouard Mendy. West Ham need to get the ball at their feet really a little bit more. I haven't seen the stats, but I'm guessing that Chelsea's possession is vastly superior percentage to West Ham's at the moment. In fact, obligingly, it comes up before me, 77% for Chelsea. It doesn't always tell the story, does it? But today I guess it does, because a lot of Chelsea's possession tonight so far has been in the right areas of the field, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And like we said, Chelsea started really, really quick, and they've kept that tempo up, and obviously got the goal, and they feel like West Ham are here for the taking tonight.
Carol is with us as ever. So great to have you along at the beach on Florida's Gulf Coast. It's been great to have you on all the early morning workouts this year, and I wish you a happy Christmas. Look forward to many more matches over the holiday weekend. Merry Christmas to you too, Carol. As ever, you've put a beautiful picture of a sunlit Florida coast. It's not quite like that in West London, but I mean, I think it's about 12 degrees, isn't it, or something, which is fairly decent for this time of night, at this time of year. It's the shortest day actually today, December the 21st. You get less daylight than any other year in the entire calendar. I know it hasn't been a particularly great time for a lot of people this year, but the good news, I suppose, at Crumacott, the days are getting slightly longer as of tomorrow. Here's Mason Mount in centre midfield for Chelsea. Rides the rather weak challenge of Mark Noble and finds Azpilicueta out wide. The Chelsea captain finds Pulisic. Pulisic has been fouled by Declan Rice, and it'll be a free kick to Chelsea in a potentially quite dangerous position. It's midway inside the West Ham half. It was very, very clumsy indeed from Declan Rice, who has had the ball in the net but was disallowed. Tammy Abraham likewise for Chelsea, but it's the goal legally converted by Thiago Silva that separates the two teams. We have a good free kick opportunity. Once again, it's Mason Mount to make the delivery. He's created a goal from one set piece already. We've had 18 minutes at Stamford Bridge. Mount swirls the ball into the box. This time it's half cleared, but only as far as Werner. Werner looks to get it back into the danger area. Away by Balbuena for West Ham United, who've been very, very much second best in the opening to this game. Peter Hyde is listening to us while driving home from work in East Legon in Accra, Nigeria. I feel for Chelsea, losing your last two games and playing the team that did a double over you last season. Chelsea will win this time, trust me, says Peter. They are winning, and they're winning well at the moment, you'd have to say. Emerson again inside the West Ham half. Back it comes to Thiago Silva, who's not been a massive goal scorer in his career. 17 goals in 315 games for Paris Saint-Germain, but he's got two in if you count this one, 14, which is not bad for a central defender new to the Premier League, but despite his age, he's such an experienced player and such a clever player that you never doubted that he'd be a success. Here's Emerson, left-hand side, gets the cross in for Chelsea, and a stooping header back towards Werner. It's nodded away by Balbuena, and then tidied up by Jarrod Bowen. But West Ham are living dangerously at the moment as Chelsea come back again with Kante. Near side, back it comes to Thiago Silva. You must be worried about West Ham at the moment, Paul, because they really haven't turned up yet at all, have they?
No, they haven't. They're just sitting off Chelsea. They're 1-0 down, and no disrespect to Mark Noble, he looks like he hasn't played for a long while because he's not getting really around the pitch like he normally does, especially in a derby, and these type of games he loves.
Yeah. Paul was hoisted forward towards Tammy Abraham, who couldn't get a particularly telling touch. It's another corner though. That's the route by which Chelsea took the lead. 20 minutes have elapsed, and once again there are plenty of players going forward. It's the same side of the field from which Mason Mount delivered the corner for the goal. He's taken it short this time. It's come out to Pulisic. Pulisic driving forward and then playing a short ball to Emerson. Now it's Thiago Silva. That's a clever ball back across field to Mason Mount, who keeps it in, hoists it high into the air. No danger for West Ham though. Jarrod Bowen flicks it out, and it's knocked down the line by Coufal. Oh, there's a slip here, and Haller might be in. Sebastian Haller has a great chance for West Ham, but there's good cover. Azpilicueta, that was brilliant from the Chelsea captain, came all the way across from right full-back to the left to make sure that Haller didn't manage to get any further forward than the edge of the penalty area. He was a little bit hesitant there, Haller, wasn't he, after the slip?
Yeah, he was. You think from the halfway line, just drive towards the goal. He's obviously no one's right near him now, but obviously he's running back, but keep going. He slows himself down, and Azpilicueta gets back and does very well for Chelsea.
Yeah, he does. He's not renowned for his pace, obviously, Haller. That's not what he's about, but I agree, it was a little bit hesitant. We've got another injury here. Roosevelt Franklin says, excitedly listening to your call in St. Louis, USA, rooting for the Hammers to turn this early tide. This is a message for you, Paul. Feel free to excessively talk about Julian Dix. That would be great. Where do you start? Anyway, we've got a free kick to West Ham at the moment, so that first opportunity really for them to do anything from a set piece. It's Coufal who plays it in. Good header away by Kurt Zouma. It comes out to Cresswell on the edge of the box, back in by him, and again it's headed away, this time by Emerson for Chelsea, and suddenly Mason Mount's on his bike at the other end, and West Ham needed two of them to stop him, but the ball has bounced kindly for Chelsea as Kante retrieves the situation, finds Mount again. Mason Mount's been excellent in the opening quarter of this game. It's Tammy Abraham far side who plays it back to Jorginho to Mason Mount, who's now operating down the left-hand side. He wants it on his right foot. He finds Emerson again. It's not a particularly good ball by him. It's bypassed Thiago Silva, gone all the way back to Edouard Mendy, who's wearing all green today. Kept 9 clean sheets in his first 11 games for Chelsea, but none in the last 3. Here's Zouma. DWD #Eterno. Not a supporter of either team, but I love your commentary. Thank you. Listening from Arlington, Texas, while walking on this path 3 miles today. Looks pretty muddy. Talking of mud, Chelsea goalkeeper Edouard Mendy slithered over. There's no mud on the Chelsea pitch, but he lost his footing there. Here's Ogbonna tidying up for West Ham, but 23 minutes gone. I just wonder whether Chelsea, the way they're playing, might sense that it's time for them to get another, because their dominance has only been rewarded by 1 goal so far. They've been so much the better team.
Yeah, 1 goal's never enough, John. Like you say, they've had a lot of possession of the football, but I think Frank would be wanting another goal before half time if he thinks he's got a chance of winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex Noni, Chelsea to win 2-1. This is a snide dig. Arsenal fans will be angry Burnley won today. That's Alex from Lagos in Nigeria. Well, Burnley are now only a point behind Arsenal. Find themselves in 15th, but in all kinds of bother at the moment. Here's Jared Bowen flicking it away towards Cresswell on the far side for West Ham on the halfway line. Plays it forward to Fornals, who's barely had a touch tonight. Back it goes to Angelo Ogbonna, who's got a couple of recent goals for West Ham. The big defender scored against Leeds and against Villa in wins. Fabianski clears long. He's wearing orange tonight. Towering header away by Zouma, but it drops here for Pablo Fornals. Cresswell's gone on a run down the flank. He's ignored by Fornals, who finds Rice. Now it's Mark Noble, centre midfield. Back to Declan Rice. Rice out wide again, and in it comes from Cresswell, knocked away by Zouma quite emphatically, but Cresswell has it again on the far side. Back it goes to Noble. At least West Ham are having a feel of the ball here, and they're in the right half of the field, which has not been the case for much of the game so far. This is Bowen. Oh, he's got away with the poor ball. It's come through to Cresswell. Chance here for West Ham. Cresswell across the face of goal. Well, he was the hero for the Hammers at Stamford Bridge last season, and he benefited there from a mistake by Chelsea. It should have been cut out by Azpilicueta. He managed to find its way through to Cresswell, hit it. I'm not sure if it was a shot or a cross. It went whizzing across the face of goal.
Yeah, I think West Ham, that's the way they're going to get in at the moment. Mistakes by Chelsea under Azpilicueta's foot. But I think Cresswell can try and pick someone out there rather than just whack it across the goal.
It's a good ball out of defence by Edouard Mendy to Jorginho. Oh dear, and he's given it away. It's a sloppy piece of play by him, and Bowen finds Noble. Noble chips it across. There's a header towards Allaire. Allaire with an overhead kick. Is he going to do it again? Not this time. Well, he scored a spectacular overhead kick against Palace, and he hooked that one slightly more prosaically towards the goal, and it might have gone in had Kurt Zouma not been there to nod it away. It's the closest West Ham have come, but I think Allaire might have been offside, but well, he's got that in his locker, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. West Ham just getting a little foothold of the game now. Chelsea making a little too many mistakes, which Frank won't be happy about, but West Ham they're buying on them and keeping the football in Chelsea's half for this last 5 minutes.
West Ham have got their first corner of the game. Cresswell spotting it up. It's going to be an outswinger. This is the route by which Chelsea scored. They had to stop West Ham at the other end. There's the header forward, and it's knocked by Kante up rather than away, and then ball just knocked through the melee of players by Thomas Soucek. And I think it's going to be another corner to West Ham United. Didn't deal with that particularly well, Chelsea, did they?
No, but Soucek is very dangerous in there, and I think you see he's scored a couple this year. Great headers, and he's fantastic in each box.
Well, West Ham have another opportunity perhaps to draw themselves level. We're in the 28th minute at Stamford Bridge. Oh no, in fact it's been given as a goal kick. I do forgive me, I thought it was a corner. It's not. Francis Doku says Accra is in Ghana, not Nigeria. I did know that. I must have said Nigeria by mistake. These things sometimes happen when you're talking at 100 miles an hour. Apologies for that. It's a free kick. West Ham. Papa Shango listening to you live from Accra in Ghana. Chelsea will win the first half and West Ham will win the second, and a draw will be the result. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Chelsea are winning the first half at the moment, 1-0. Thiago Silva with a terrific header from a corner by Mason Mount. West Ham will come into the game a little bit more in the last few moments. Loads of tweets coming in. Keep them coming up. Try and do my best to keep abreast of them as well as keeping abreast of the game, of course. Coufal is taking an age to get the ball back into play. He's found Haller, but he's dispossessed by Jorginho, and Werner with a nice little move to his right comes forward. He's got very little support ahead of him, so he has to go back to Azpilicueta, who swaps passes with N'Golo Kante. This is Kurt Zouma, and now Thiago Silva. Zouma again, forward to Kante, and now Jorginho. Now Werner. Good tackle though for West Ham, comes in, and it's going to be a free kick to the Hammers for a foul by the midfielder Jorginho. He's another one who's been celebrating a birthday. Jorginho was 29 yesterday. 4 days it's now, isn't it, ahead of Christmas. The last Premier League game before the round of fixtures on Boxing Day. Allaire with the header, flicked on, chance for West Ham, and again the ball's in the net, but again it's not going to count. That's the second time West Ham have got the ball into the net. This time it was Bowen, but he's been penalised for a foul on Thiago Silva.
Yeah, it's a great header by Soucek just to try and get Bowen in, but I think he's just clipped him just before he went to finish it, and Silva's quite clever and just goes over easy.
Yeah. That much contact.
Not really, but you get away with it nowadays, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You're right, it was a good header by Soucek. Barely any contact at all. To be fair, I think the whistle had blown. Maybe the Chelsea players would have reacted a little more quickly had it not blown, but we've had half an hour. Chelsea are still leading by that early goal. West Ham much better prospect now though. Here's Bowen. Mount can't get a touch. It's forward by Soucek, and Fornals battling with Jorginho. The ball's in the air. It's half volleyed away by Cesar Azpilicueta. Declan Rice wins it and finds Mark Noble. Noble forward. It's intercepted well by Zouma, then by Emerson, and the ball goes out of play. Samson Comey says Chelsea will win. Listening to you live from the police hospital with my patients in Accra, Ghana. Well, wish them all a speedy recovery and a happy Christmas from us. Doing all that good work there. Here's Timo Werner down the right hand side for Chelsea. He's got Abraham for support. He has it now, tries to recycle it across towards Pulisic, but gets in a bit of a tangle, and West Ham managed to win possession with Fornals. Now it's Noble, and Declan Rice comes into the picture. They cross halfway. It's Cresswell. They're only a yard inside the Chelsea half, and now they go back again. This is Bowen, and now Noble. Ogbonna out to Cresswell on the far side, who starts to sprint down that left flank, but he's been dispossessed by N'Golo Kante, and Chelsea are coming forward now. Kante still has the ball. He wants to play it square to Pulisic, which he does. It's Christian Pulisic into the box, and it just bounced off him at the wrong moment. He waltzed through from the edge of the penalty area, but just at the last moment I think the ball took an unkind bounce off his shin and went behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, and that's where he's very dangerous, in them little tight areas. He's very clever. Unlucky for him, it just come off the wrong part of his foot, but again, good defending from Ogbonna right near the end.
West Ham clear. Chelsea only momentarily win it back, and then Thiago Silva files Noble. I'm not sure I agree with this treat. Francis fair. Chelsea lose today and it'll spell the end for Frank Lampard. £200 million not well spent. Francis is in Port Harcourt, which I know is in Nigeria. I don't think Frank Lampard's under any great pressure at the moment, even if they lose this one. It will be a third successive defeat for Chelsea if they do. Here's chance for Coufal to get the ball in, which he does, and then nods it down. Shot on the turn was a firm one by Soucek, and it was blocked by Chelsea, who were a little bit dozy at the back there. Thiago Silva's gone down because the ball has caught him nastily in the midriff. I think he's got winded. But West Ham are beginning to grow in stature, aren't they? And Coufal's initial ball was blocked, but he nodded it down cleverly, and Thiago took one right in the midriff there, and he had his hands interestingly behind his back as he made that block, just to make sure there wasn't a stray hand in the way.
Yeah, West Ham are coming back into it, and they're believing now that there's something to get. There's a great block by Silva in the end.
It was. Did you ever have, I mean, in your day, Did defenders ever sort of, was that when they started putting their hands behind their backs? So you see it quite often now because they're so scared of, with the handball rule being what it is, of giving away a penalty. It's not a natural thing to do, is it?
No, I was just about to say it wasn't there when I played, John, but like, it's so unnatural for a defender. You're thinking about putting your arms behind rather than defending the football. It's crazy.
It is, but I suppose it has to be done on occasions. Anyway, he did it pretty well there. Here's loose ball in midfield. West Ham win it through Soucek. Now it's Noble, blocked by Jorginho. The ball goes out of play. Hammer Robert listening in Okolona, Arkansas, USA. Come on, you Irons. We're doing all right at the moment. Throw into West Ham United. Almost up to 35 minutes. West Ham have been the better team in the last 5 or 6 certainly, and they're on the front foot here. Noble trying to keep the ball in play, not able to do so, but it's spun off Pulisic. It's going to be a throw into West Ham United on the near side, level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Once again, Coufal has taken a very long time to get it in. He does finally. Allaire gets his head to it, but it comes out of the area. Back to Coufal again. Good challenge by Mason Mount, who tidies up and clears it long. Ogbonna with the downward header, kept in on this near side by Noble. Still it's West Ham asking the questions. Balbuena with a good crossfield ball, and then it's given away by Fornals, and Kante will try and steady the ship for Chelsea, but again Pulisic is caught in possession this time. West Ham are winning all the midfield battles at the moment.
Yeah, they have. They've come to grips with it, and West Ham keep winning them second balls, and they can hit Chelsea on their counter-attack if they go quicker,
which is what they're trying to do now with Cresswell, but he's hit the first defender. It comes out to Declan Rice, still on the far left-hand side of the field, into Cresswell once more. Cresswell no room, there's Azpilicueta in the way, but he's found Rice again, and then Fornals back to Rice. This is good by West Ham. Rice gets the cross in, it's nodded away by Mount, and then rather miskicked by Kante. Back in it comes from Noble. It's all West Ham at the moment. Here's Cresswell's latest cross, and again Azpilicueta is the man in the way, and the ball won't go out of play, so West Ham keep it alive. Noble has it, and well, this is frantic defence really from Chelsea. They were all over West Ham in the opening, let's say 20-25 minutes, but it's all changed since then, and now Jorginho's been caught in possession, but it's a foul by Allaire, which can lead me to give you this nice tweet, Paul. Benjamin Snyder, he says Mason Mount, as I mentioned, and Declan Rice are best mates. Did Conch ever play against one of his best mates? Did you have mates in football on opposite teams that you came up against?
Yeah, I did, to be fair. I grew up with John Terry and Bobby Zamora, so I always played against them too, and lucky enough to play a lot with Bobby Zamora at different clubs, so it's difficult, but you put it behind you when you blow that whistle when you're playing, you put friendship behind you.
Of course you do. Was that the Zenrab club?
That was, that was the team.
Jermaine Defoe come from there as well?
Yeah, Jermaine was a bit younger, but he still played in that Zenrab team.
Yeah, fantastic club that so many great players have come from. Here's West Ham coming forward with Bowen. It's a good ball to Fornals. Fornals wriggles away from Kante and chips the ball across towards Mark Noble on this near side. One touch to control. Gets it back to Coufal. Oh, what a waste, the cross. It was hoisted to nowhere in particular, and that was a shame because West Ham had set themselves up beautifully there. Coufal, understandably, is pretty annoyed with himself, and no wonder.
Yeah, West Ham had numbers in the box from that cross. And to be fair to him, he's normally quite good with his crossing. I think Soucek scored a couple from him. Haller scored a couple. So disappointing to put the ball behind the goal from that cross for him.
Here's goal kick. I like this tweet. It's Firewalker 114 listening from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Great commentary, lads. Hoping for a Chelsea win. Just to hear Tom Rennie whine about it tomorrow. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Same to you. Well, you'll never hear the... Well, I mean, Tom's not in at the moment, but when he is in, he's usually spouting loudly about West Ham. Does he pick your brains about it? I'm sure he does, Paul, with your expert knowledge of the club.
Yeah, we had some great chats, me and Tom, about West Ham.
Oh, that's a back pass which was almost short, not quite, but it forced Fabianski to clear, and he cleared well. What West Ham don't want to do is have a long spell of possession and pressure and then find themselves making a mistake to go 2 goals down. Here's Emerson. He's been tackled on the near side. Ball's gone out of play for a Chelsea throw. Mason Mount has it. He plays a crossfield ball to Kurt Zouma. Zouma on halfway just comes forward and finds Aspin. One little run from him. He's off on another here, but West Ham's shape has been pretty good so far. They'll be annoyed, West Ham, that they switched off from that set piece, really, because they've really been threatened too much other than that. Here's Zouma finding Jorginho, and now the man who got that goal, Thiago Silva. Zouma again, still inside the Chelsea half. Just over 5 minutes to go to the interval plus stoppage time. All the way back to Edouard Mendy. And Thiago Silva. Mendy has it once more for Chelsea. I think the arrival of Edouard Mendy seems to have improved Chelsea as a defensive unit, in the sense that with all the mistakes that Kepa made, you just worried that players were, not comfortable with him behind them. They look a bit happier with Mendy behind them, don't they, the back four?
Yeah, they do, and I think he's very comfortable with his feet as well. You just see him playing out there, and that's how Chelsea want to play. But on that one, I think West Ham are lucky to get away with that from Cresswell.
Yeah, they were a little bit. Play continues, and Cresswell has it on the far side. Little dummy. Rice is not, I don't think, going to get on the end of it. Oh, maybe he will. He's got the better of Azpilicueta. Great play by Declan Rice. Tries to set up Fornals, and there was a foot in there, crucially, for Chelsea from Jorginho. It was a really strong run by Declan Rice down the left. He had no right to get the ball ahead of Azpilicueta, but he did. And he tried to roll the ball back for, I think it was Fornals, and Jorginho just slid in for Chelsea at the right time. But here come the Hammers again with Fornals. West Ham have now had more attempts than Chelsea, but it's Chelsea's one that has gone in. Here's Ogbonna clipping it away towards Coufal. Nice drag back by the Czech international, who finds Balbuena. Balbuena, poor ball over the head of Cresswell to get on the end of something here. Caleb says, good evening, I'm hoping for another thumping header, this time from Zouma, to save my FPL. Also wish Cresswell and Soucek give me returns. That looks unlikely, but I'm optimistic. Listening from Lagos in Nigeria, great commentary. I know a lot of you do this, what we used to call, is it still called fantasy football? I don't know, but it's, you're trying to earn points with players putting in good performances. Now then, here come Chelsea. There's a chance here. There's 2-on-1. It's Pulisic. It's Werner. And it's missed. Fabianski made an easy save in the end, and Werner really should have put Chelsea 2-0 up. That's the story of what's going on for him at the moment. But Pulisic waited for the perfect moment. He fed Werner. Werner had a touch, and it was a very hesitant finish.
It was, but I don't think his first touch was that good, John, and it's pushed him away a little bit from the goal under his feet, and it's an easy save at the end for Fabianski, but that's kept West Ham in the game.
Absolutely. He got in a tangle with his feet, didn't he? Fabianski, it was a good save, but not one that he would expect to, or one that he would expect to make. Here's a volley back in by Mason Mount, and another straightforward save for Lucas Fabianski. But Timo Werner, was that the sort of run up and the shot of a player who's lacking in confidence? It looked that to me.
Yeah, it did look that to me as well. Maybe Abrahams might have been the better option on the other side.
Here's Haller at the other end for West Ham United, edge of the penalty area, holds it up, and a very belated offside flag has been raised against Haller. I know they're told to delay before raising the flags. Tom Godwin, hello guys, Chelsea have to win this one. They've been frustrating enough in the past few matches, although you're not a Chelsea fan. Oh well, there you go. But yeah, you're right. A couple of away defeats. David Moyes will be pretty happy with the way things have transpired, because they got off to the worst start really with that early goal. But certainly recently, last 15-20 minutes, they've been pretty good.
Yeah, they have. They've grown into the game and probably been the better team in the last 20-25 minutes.
Player down in the centre circle, and the referee's going to let play continue though as Chelsea try and get forward with Abraham. It's tidied up by Balbuena, and the Chelsea player is still down. He's going to blow his whistle now, Chris Kavanagh, so that I think it's Jorginho who's lying prone on the deck. The tweets are coming thick and fast. Say Emmanuel, hello John, this is Emmanuel lying on my bed listening to you via City FM at Koforidua in Ghana. Come on the Blues, he says. Randall Smith would like to hear a West Ham victory, so I can hear a confused Tom Rennie dealing with the Hammers' success, getting my kicks on Route 66 in central Illinois. And there's a picture of your car with a wing mirror on a highway there. Do you tend to tease Tom Rennie occasionally? I suppose it's not easy for you, is it? Because you like West Ham as well. we always do.
No,
we always try and wind him up. See what
but probably not that much this year, because they've done really well this season.
It was better last season. I mean, there was a lot of it last season as well, because my club Watford were involved in that relegation battle with West Ham, and of course we went down. Yeah. So there was quite a lot of interest in each other's clubs. We're just looking at a replay of Thiago Silva's goal, thumping header. We're into 3 minutes of stoppage time, but none of it's involved any play, because Chelsea have had a player down injured. It was Jorginho. I think he's going to be okay, and the ball is now back in play with Lucas Fabianski, who made a save which was easier than he would have expected from Timo Werner. That would have been a blow for West Ham, wouldn't it, if Werner had scored at the end of what had been a good 15 minutes or so for the Hammers, had they conceded at that point. Throw in again, Coufal. He does like a delay before he throws it in. It's a long one from the Czech right back. It's headed away by Thiago Silva, back in by Bowen, then volleyed strongly by Emerson almost up to halfway, but there's a huge header back, but one that ends up in the gloves of Edouard Mendy, the 28-year-old former Rennes goalkeeper. He knocks long with his right foot down the middle towards Werner again, trying to find Abraham, can't do so. It might still break. There's a real tangle on the edge of the box. West Ham managed to get it back to Fabianski, who clears upfield. Pulisic again, Pulisic I should say, involved again on the edge of the penalty area, but Ogbonna managed to steer it back to his goalkeeper. West Ham got their first away win at Stamford Bridge in 15 visits last season, although they've had a degree of success here in the Premier League. Not recently though. Here's clever turn by Coufal, which gets him beyond Kante. He's looking ahead of him. It's a ball down the line, intercepted by Emerson. Haller slides in with Jorginho. I think it's going to be Chelsea's throw in. We're almost up to the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Chelsea 1, West Ham 0. A reminder that Burnley did themselves a power of good earlier with a 2-1 home win against Wolverhampton Wanderers, with Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood getting the goals. A late penalty by Fabio Silva, the 18-year-old's first Premier League goal. Not enough for Wolves in the end. David Moyes is talking to his players. He'll be able to talk to them at close quarters in just a moment, because Chris Kavanagh will shortly blow the half-time whistle. We don't have a ball at the moment. Finally it's thrown to Emerson. I don't know where it went. And that is the half-time whistle. So, Chelsea dominated the opening period and got a goal. Thiago Silva heading firmly in from a Mason Mount corner. Declan Rice had the ball in the net for West Ham, but it was disallowed. They then grew into the game, but they haven't been able to cut the deficit, and Timo Werner might have made it 2-0 were it not for Fabianski late on. Half-time at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 1, West Ham 0. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport. Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated Talk Sport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport. Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Golf! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10 when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on Talk Sport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. Talk Sport. It's the double O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport. Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved Talk Sport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder.
Talk Sport.
Welcome back. Chelsea 1, West Ham United 0 in this West versus East London derby at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have a corner. It's an outswinger, and it's headed in by Thiago Silva. Bullet header from the Brazilian, and Chelsea have the lead. Well, he couldn't have connected with that any better, Thiago Silva, and from the moment it left his forehead, the net was always going to bulge, and it did. Chelsea 1, West Ham 0.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great ball in from Mason Mount, and I think Thiago Silva's lost his man on the edge of the box, and it's a bullet header, like you say. As soon as he's left his head, it's always rustling the net.
Really good header, firm. Kurt Zouma's been the specialist there. West Ham, I don't think, will be particularly happy that Silva has managed to find himself a gap there, hasn't he? He's between Ogbonna and Allaire as he heads in.
Yeah, it was fantastic movement, or whatever Zouma's done to off guard the other defender, but fantastic header from Silva, and 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, great start for Chelsea. Now then, here come Chelsea. There's a chance here. There's 2-on-1. It's Pulisic, it's Werner, and it's missed. Fabianski made an easy save in the end, and Werner really should have put Chelsea 2-0 up. That's the story of what's going on for him at the moment. But Pulisic waited for the perfect moment. He fed Werner. Werner had a touch, and it was a very hesitant finish. Yeah, it should have been 2-0 to Chelsea. Timo Werner, as we're hearing there, wasting a golden opportunity. I think that would have been a little bit hard on West Ham, Paul, but what David Moyes, I think, will be saying to them is probably, let's try and build on what we've achieved in the second half of the first half, if you like, but of course they're going to have to be careful because Chelsea have got quality going forward.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they'd be disappointed the way they started, but Chelsea started really fast and got their goal. But if West Ham can start the second half how they ended the first half, then West Ham have got a chance, and if they get a chance they need to take one, and then it opens the game up.
It was a half of two halves, really, wasn't it? Chelsea were dominant and looking very comfortable, got the goal, but West Ham have had chances too, haven't they? They've ball twice in the net, both understandable offside decisions, but they've really, having got through a painful opening 20 minutes, almost a better side for the remainder of it.
Yeah, definitely, and I think if they can break Chelsea attack and themselves attack quicker down the outside, especially with Bowen, I think he's getting loads of space down the right hand side. If they can get some crosses into Haller, then hopefully West Ham will get a chance and take one.
Yeah, because you mentioned Declan Rice at the beginning. What a great season he's having. He's popping up all over the place, making runs down the flanks. He managed to round the keeper and put the ball in the net. He's having a terrific game for West Ham in midfield and could be a key figure second half.
Yeah, like you say, he's covered every blade of grass, I think, for West Ham, and I think Mark Noble sitting there a little bit more gives Declan a lot more free to go and roam the pitch, which when Mark ain't playing, then Declan's normally the one sitting. So I think he'll be a big key for West Ham in this second half, and if he can get himself in the box, who knows, he might nick a goal.
Yeah, Chelsea, I don't think they'll be particularly happy. As I said, they've allowed West Ham back into the game. Timo Werner's having a terrible time in front of goal. He should have made it 2-0. At what point maybe does Frank Lampard think, well, let's get Giroud on, because he's got such a good current goal scoring record?
Yeah, talking about Werner, I think he's playing with lack of confidence. He don't look confident, especially in front of goal, and even just playing 1-2s with Abraham, he don't look confident. So you know Frank could change it at half time and put Giroud up top and maybe go with the two up top and Pulisic in behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a game earlier today, and it was Burnley who triumphed by 2-1 against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Turf Moor, a result which takes Burnley up to 16th place and out of the bottom three. Let's hear from the two managers' reaction to that game, Sean Dyche and Nuno Espiritu Santo.
Some of the quality to get them chances was good as well. First goal's a terrific goal from Dwight McNeil, recovering from a below par set piece to make a tackle on the edge of our box, shows his work ethic for the team. And then we turned that moment around, and a good move to get into the final third from Charlie Taylor, and a great ball and a great finish from Barnsley. We had Barnsley had to throw on a one-on-one. We had Barnsley with a chance second half. We had Woody with a chance second half. Much better quality of chances. I don't think we're a side that's ever made like 25 and 30 chances, but what we have done is made really good chances. And I said that I believe that we can do that, and I think tonight we did. I thought there was a clear sign of real good chances, and of course we took two, and that was enough in the end.
It's a tough game. I think we started well, with good spells, good possession, breaking the pressure and going out. After we conceded in a bad way, we allowed a counter-attack with our offensive situation. And after that becomes difficult, but we finished the game well. And let's go for the next one.
Yeah, debut goal for Fabio Silva, the 18-year-old Portuguese striker, from a penalty late on, not enough to rescue Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are now below half, or don't move into the top half. They're currently 11th, Wolverhampton Wanderers. What are you expecting from this second half, Paul? Are you expecting West Ham to continue in the same vein, or are you expecting Chelsea to start the second half as they did the first?
I think I'm expecting David Moyes maybe to make a change and bring Benrahma on, more attacking, maybe for Mark Noble, if you like, because he ain't played a lot of football, or Fornals, because he's not been in the game too much. But I do expect Chelsea to start quick again, like they did in the first half. And I think West Ham will be ready for that, and hopefully start just as quick and maybe get a goal and open the game up.
Yeah, it should be a good second half. Certainly the next goal will be absolutely crucial. If it goes to the Hammers, of course, you'd maybe fancy them to get something here, but if it goes to Chelsea, it makes the task an awful lot harder for West Ham United. It's the last Premier League game before Christmas, and we're looking forward to a cracking second half at Stamford Bridge, where a goal by Thiago Silva separates the two sides. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport.
Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new TalkSport swimming pool. Goff! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on TalkSport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on TalkSport.
Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the double-O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksby and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksby and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder.
TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against West Ham United from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Liverpool, West Ham and England defender, Paul Konchesky. This is Premier League Live. Welcome back for the last 45 minutes of football before the Christmas break, although of course we'll be back on Boxing Day, which is a packed programme as well. Chelsea are waiting in the tunnel to re-emerge for the second half, leading by 1-0, scored by Thiago Silva, the Brazilian defender, with his second goal for the club, a towering header from an out-swinging Mason Mount corner. Haven't been all Chelsea though by any means. West Ham have looked dangerous for long periods of the game, although Timo Werner, who's out of touch in front of goal, should have made it 2-0, but presented Fabianski with a fairly straightforward save late on. This derby has been keenly contested and still very much in the balance. West Ham had the ball in the net a couple of times, both of which were disallowed, although Tammy Abraham scored for Chelsea as well in another incident where the offside flag was raised. None of them controversial by any means. They were all straightforward decisions for the officials, who are led by Chris Kavanagh, who shortly will get us underway for the second half. A conversation going on between Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham. Abraham is smiling. Werner will be annoyed that he didn't break his drought of 8 games with a goal, which he desperately needs. West Ham United yet to reappear for the second half. If Chelsea hang on to this victory, they will climb into 5th place, a point behind Everton and Manchester United, above Tottenham on goal difference. If West Ham United can get a comeback win themselves, they would move up potentially above Southampton into 6th. So there's plenty to play for in this second half. Chelsea come out very early. West Ham United appearing now from a different part of the ground. Chelsea is one of those stadiums with a very, very narrow tunnel, so the visiting team have to enter the arena via a different gate, but they are coming out now. West Ham, I don't think there are any substitutions at the interval. We'll confirm that in just a moment, but looking forward to the second half here, because, as I said, Chelsea haven't had it all their own way, and it's finally poised and every chance of an entertaining second half as Chris Kavanagh walks out towards the centre spot. It's Chelsea wearing all blue, of course, with white socks, who will kick off for the second half. West Ham are in their traditional claret and blue. It's not quite the end of the English footballing action, because, of course, we've got the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup this week, but this is the last of the Premier League games on match week 14. Azpilicueta hoists the ball out of play. There are no substitutions at the interval. Chelsea have Edouard Mendy in goal. The back four is Cesar Azpilicueta, Kurt Zouma, Thiago Silva and Emerson, who replaced birthday boy Ben Chilwell, who got injured early on. N'Golo Kante, Jorginho and Mason Mount across midfield. Then it's Christian Pulisic, Tammy Abraham and Timo Werner. For West Ham, Lucas Fabianski is between the sticks. Vladimir Coufal, Fabian Balbuena, Angelo Ogbonna and Aaron Cresswell is the back four. Then Declan Rice, Mark Noble and Thomas Soucek up front. Jared Bowen, Sebastian Haller and Pablo Fornals. Chelsea made the better start in the opening half. Zouma has the ball and plays it across to the goal scorer, Thiago Silva. Lots and lots of tweets coming in, which we always like. Random Paul says, predicting a 2-1 Hammers win, Haller and Benrahma to score. That's from Myrtle Beach in the USA. Here's Kante finding Werner, tackled by Balbuena, and it's rather loose in midfield now, and it's Chelsea who pick up the pieces with Mason Mount inside the centre circle. He's got Emerson away to his left hand side. Somebody gave me the most absurd stat I've ever heard regarding Ben Chilwell. I'll tell you that in a minute when the play breaks down. Here's Emerson drifting infield and clipping it back. Ben Chilwell, I'm told, is only the second player ever to be substituted with an injury inside the first 10 minutes of a match on his birthday. I mean, my question is, who on earth works that out? I mean, get a life. I know you can't go out at the moment, but you need to get out more, whoever that is. The answer, incidentally, the other one is Paul Gerrard, who, more interestingly, is Steven Gerrard's cousin, the great Liverpool player. Well, I'm sure you've got huge respect and admiration for Steven Gerrard, but of course he broke your heart at Wembley, didn't he, Paul, in that cup final in 2006 against Liverpool when you were a West Ham player, and scored a fantastic goal. Here's Aaron Cresswell on the left hand side. Useful looking cross, and the header from Haller is a long way off target, and it was a good opportunity. He's not happy. It was a lovely cross by Cresswell, and Haller didn't really get hold of it at all. It came off the side of his head and went 10 yards wide.
Yeah, great ball in from Cresswell, and you expect Haller, as bread and butter for him. He's above Silva there, and you expect him to at least hit the target.
Yeah, it was an opportunity. West Ham can't keep missing these opportunities, because Chelsea, as they showed at the end of the first half, Timo Werner so close to making it 2-0, and then it suddenly becomes a real slog, as it is just the one goal separating these two. London, what's the rivalry like with Chelsea? I mean, obviously, Chelsea and Spurs have this massive rivalry. They used to have a rivalry with Fulham. West Ham, it was more perhaps Millwall, but do you consider this when you're playing for West Ham as it's Chelsea, we must try and beat them to get local pride?
A little bit, but more probably Tottenham.
Yeah.
When West Ham played Tottenham, it's a massive one.
Here's Abraham into the box. Werner goes sliding in, doesn't make any contact. And the goalkeeper Fabianski has got himself injured. Tammy Abraham was trying to get on the end of that cross from the right wing. Werner got closer to the ball than Abraham, who got the cross in. And there's a bit of a collision there between striker and goalkeeper. It just slid on the surface into Fabianski. And hopefully the Hammers goalkeeper will be okay. He's been great for West Ham, hasn't he, Fabianski? He's kept 67 Premier League clean sheets in his career, but he doesn't have a very good record against Chelsea. He's played them 16 times. He's only ever kept 2 clean sheets. That's now 17 and 2 clean sheets. Now Fabianski's injured his right ankle here, which means that Darren Randolph is warming up.
Take your choice, John. I think
there's 2. Yeah, answer me this. Why do you put 2 goalkeepers on the bench? David Martin is on the bench as well. Randolph is the number 2, isn't he? Why would you put 2 goalkeepers on the bench? Can't both come on?
Confused, John. I see it on the sheet, and I was thinking, why? That's just a waste of a player, maybe, or less all the other players are injured, or
I think,
or not.
Didn't Klopp do it against Palace? I think he did.
Yeah.
And we were talking about them. We're none the wiser, really. How are we? But I mean, I think Klopp did it as a kind of ironic sort of statement about we're not allowed to have 5 subs, but quite why David Moyes has done it, I don't quite know. It doesn't look as if Randolph, for the time being, is going to be needed. Fabianski clearly hurt his ankle in that fairly innocent challenge with Timo Werner. He's going to be okay. He's spotted the ball up. We've already seen one player go off with an ankle injury. That was Ben Chilwell. And the ball's back in play with Balbuena knocking it long, away by Kurt Zouma for Chelsea. It's loose in midfield. Cresswell flicks it up invitingly towards Haller, who's beaten in the air by Zouma. It's quite a good battle between those two, isn't it? Both very tall men. I would say Zouma's edged that one with Haller so far.
Yeah, he's a physical centre half, and I think he's come out on top so far, but it will be another great battle.
Yeah, there are plenty of those all over the field. Benjamin Snyder's obsessed with you, Conch. He's saying, random question, but where is Conch from? His accent sounds American. Oh my God. No. Where are you actually from in London? Is it
East London,
Dartford?
right near West Ham.
Yeah, oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
You're a proper
East Ender, yeah.
Cockney, yeah?
Cockney boy.
Yeah.
But an Essex boy now.
Yeah. You live in Essex now, do you?
I do, yeah.
Goodness knows why he thinks you sound American, because Christian Pulisic sounds American, Paul Konchesky doesn't. Anyway, the ball's in centre midfield with Jorginho, who has a little touch and is walking forward at not any great place in towards Abraham's. Good towering header by Ogbonna. Back in it goes from Werner. It's been a pretty scruffy 7 minutes so far at the start of the second. Not a huge amount of quality from either side yet. Here's Fornals. Now it's Declan Rice, who was excellent in the first half for West Ham. And then Ogbonna back to his goalkeeper Fabianski, who seems to be moving okay, but you can see that Werner, I think, is going to put pressure on Fabianski, sensing that he might be a little hesitant after that injury, but he got the ball clear there okay. Here's Angelo Ogbonna, who finds Aaron Cresswell on the left-hand side, still inside his own half, plays the ball invitingly towards Fornals. Zouma is there, gets across. West Ham should get a corner here, or maybe they won't. Zouma has hooked it away, and I think it's going to be a throw-in, not a corner, to West Ham. Zouma's been excellent for Chelsea this season, not just as a defender. He scored 4 goals in the campaign, all of them headers from set pieces. He's only ever scored 8 Premier League goals in his entire career, and 4 of them have come in 18 appearances this season. This time Chelsea do have a corner. It's their 4th of the game. Of course, they scored from the first of them. Plenty of height for both clubs in this penalty area. It's Aaron Cresswell who will take the corner kick. It's going to be an outswinger for West Ham, I beg your pardon, not Chelsea. And Tammy Abraham climbs, makes one header, then is beaten in the air. The ball is only cleared as far as Jared Bowen. Bowen round the outside of Abrahams, gets the cross in. There's a Chelsea player down injured inside the box, but play is continuing. The ball has hit Sebastian Haller and gone away for a goal kick. But Kurt Zouma has got himself injured in that melee in the penalty area. Almost 10 minutes gone in the second half. Well, West Ham, actually, that goal they conceded in the 10th minute, Thiago Silva, was the first goal that West Ham have conceded from a set piece other than a penalty this season, which is extraordinary, really.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, mad. But they didn't defend it very well and paid the price. Zouma is back on his feet. The ball is nodded forward strongly by West Ham, who are just beginning to get a little bit of a foothold in this second half, although Emerson has driven the ball down the line towards Werner for Chelsea. Coufal is there just to scuff it out of play. Here's Emerson again, who stumbles and stutters but stays on his feet. Thiago Silva, good ball to Werner. Werner wearing 11 goes down the left-hand side. That's a poor cross. Well, Werner's body language is not good, is it? He really, really looks like a player with no confidence at all. I know he's primarily a goal scorer, but that was an awful cross, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think well, even before he missed the chance in the first half, he just looked like he's a player playing without the confidence that you'd expect him to be playing with. He's a new player to the Premier League and he's lacking in confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sometimes it is different from a lot of the European leagues. I mean, to be fair, you can't be a bad player if you score 95 goals for RB Leipzig, primarily in the Bundesliga, but he's gone off the ball. He's missed a good chance today. Here's Jorginho finding Zouma, but West Ham have done well, and Fornals finds Noble, and Noble quickly down the line towards Bowen. Bowen inside the Chelsea penalty area, one way then the other, gets the cross in. It's blocked by Thiago Silva, and it's going to be a corner to West Ham. Jared Bowen I like a lot this season. I think he's been excellent for West Ham and showed the confidence to run the ball into the air, but Thiago Silva, who's a very, very accomplished and experienced defender, had the cover. But it is a corner to West Ham United. Bowen himself will take it. Ogbonna, who scored a couple of goals in recent games for West Ham, goes up for the corner kick. In it comes, and it's blocked by Jorginho. It comes out to Timo Werner. Werner gives it away to Noble. Noble thinks about a cross, delays. The cross does come in now. Zouma heads it up rather than wait. Look at N'Golo Kante. He's so alive to everything going on around him. He's by far the quickest player to react. Sprinted towards the dropping ball and ensured that it was cleared by Chelsea, but then he's given it away and got away with it. It's not been a very cohesive first half from either, second half from either side yet, has it? It's been very scruffy and beaty.
No, you're right. Yeah, very scruffy. Just time after time, mistake after mistake.
Yeah, lots of them. Here come West Ham again. Mason Mount gets the ball off Bowen, and then West Ham try and win it back with Noble, which they have done, and then it's a foul, I think, by Mason Mount, who's upended his man, and it'll be a free kick to West Ham United. Midway inside the Chelsea half, it was tigerish, as you'd expect from Mark Noble, player of his experience. You don't get too many one-club men in English football these days. This is his 510th appearance for West Ham United, and his 389th in the Premier League. And like you, Paul, I think he was born very, very close to the old Upton Park, wasn't he? Here's the free kick in. Chance for Ogbonna, who got up, and the header has gone behind. He wants a corner. He's insisting there was a touch in front of him, but he's hollering in Chris Kavanagh's ear, but it's not going to have any effect at all on the referee. It's going to be a goal kick, but useful delivery that. And Ogbonna, as we mentioned, Paul, he's been among the goals lately.
Yeah, it's a great delivery, and he's got a right to shout for a corner, because that would be a West Ham corner for me.
No question. It came off Thiago Silva. He was absolutely right, and the referee got it wrong, but you can't have VAR for those sort of. Thank goodness, otherwise we'd never end the game, would we? Imagine VARing whether it was a throw or not. That would be a nightmare. Here's Mason Mount for Chelsea, finding Pulisic, who hasn't had a huge impact on this game. He looks frustrated with himself, Pulisic, a little bit. Here's Noble for West Ham, who finds Bowen. Back to Noble again. West Ham looking the better team at the moment. They're on the far side. Noble once more getting involved and finding Declan Rice. Back it comes to Balbuena, and the crossfield ball by the Paraguayan finds Cresswell, who's picked out Allaire. Cresswell again for West Ham United. Ogbonna, but back it goes. Balbuena all the way back to Lucas Fabianski, Polish international, former Arsenal and Swansea goalkeeper, gets the ball across to Angelo Ogbonna, who is Italian like Jorginho, on the opposite side today. Ball's gone out of play close to the dugout in front of David Moyes. We've had an hour. Second half hasn't really lived up to our expectations yet. Both teams have had 5 attempts on goal, but none of those West Ham attempts have been on target. Here's Pulisic on the near side, half tackled. Now Azpilicueta tackled by Soucek. Doesn't quite look himself, Pulisic, today.
No, he doesn't.
From an injury. Azpilicueta will take the throw in. Headed away, out of play by Pablo Fornals. 61 minutes gone at Stamford Bridge. West Ham have only lost 2 of their last 11 Premier League games, and those were against Liverpool and Manchester United. Will be, at the moment, I think, very happy if they can take a point from this derby. Away by Ogbonna and then by Allaire. Zouma opts to let the ball run out of play for a throw-in. All the players concentrated on this near side. In it comes and cleared by West Ham. It's going to be a throw-in to Chelsea. Blues fan wants to know.
I've seen it,
East End boy Koch found a West End. Is your wife a West Ender or an East Ender?
She's an Essex girl.
Oh, good. That way. Here's a corner to Chelsea. Mason Mount will take it. 62 minutes played. It's an outswinger. Header at the near post is by Thiago Silva. Those were the 2 players that combined to give Chelsea the lead, but on this occasion Thiago Silva's not really able to get it anywhere near on target. Difficult chance because the ball was swung in towards the near post, and in the end it went harmlessly behind, so it stays Chelsea 1, West Ham United 0, but we're going to see a a change in just a moment with activity on the benches. Here's Soucek finding Coufal, and now Bowen's cross takes a deflection. Fornals! Good strike and a brilliant block by Cesar Azpilicueta. That looked as if it might be fizzing into the bottom corner, but the Chelsea captain made a brilliant intervention.
Yeah, again it starts from Bowen on the right hand side, and he puts a cross in there, and he fell to Fornals on the edge of the box.
Corner's been taken quickly. Here's Mark Noble for West Ham United, finding Cresswell into the box, up from Emerson. Mendy needs to get there. Oh dear, strange kind of punch. It's gone right up in the air. Ogbonna keeps it alive. Here's Bowen again, finding Declan Rice. It's all West Ham at the moment. Mark Noble collects the ball in midfield. In it comes again, and finally the cross is over long and rather poor, and Timo Werner will keep it in close to the corner flag and clear for Chelsea. But you just sense that West Ham have got this game, perhaps not by the scruff of the neck, but certainly they're the more adventurous looking team second half.
Yeah, it looks like it, but West Ham need to attack Chelsea because they're losing the game 1-0, and I think it might change now when Benrahma comes on. It'd be interesting to see who goes off for West Ham.
Yeah, they probably do need to change. You said Noble. I mean, initially you said Mark Noble looked a little bit rusty, but which was true, but because he's such an experienced player, he seems to have grown into the game quite well.
He does, you're right.
Here's Haller, tackled by Silva. And now it's Jorginho for Chelsea. Back to Mason Mount, who's very deep. Gets it back to Edouard Mendy. Mendy thumps it with his right foot up towards halfway. Ogbonna meets it and finds Soucek. Now it's Declan Rice. This time we're asking Declan Rice goes on one of those runs of his. Finds Fornals. Here's Noble. Leaves it for Cresswell. Brilliant tackle again by Azpilicueta, who finds Werner, and suddenly Chelsea are on the counter-attack. It's Werner trying to find Abraham, but he was never going to find him with that pass, and Ogbonna was across to cover. That's what West Ham are going to have to be careful about, isn't it? Because Chelsea are a very good counter-attacking side, particularly with Werner, who's got pace, and for all their dominance at the moment, they can not afford to be too negligent at the back. 65 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, West Ham United 0. Here's Balbuena. Haller steers the ball over to the far side. Coufal down the line to his compatriot Soucek. Soucek does well to wriggle away from a challenge and find Haller. Haller cuts it back. He's offside though, and again that's frustrating for West Ham. And maybe now the change that you were talking about is going to be made. The rain has started to hammer down at Stamford Bridge. We're going to see Mateo Kovacic coming on for Chelsea, a defensive midfield player, like for like swap with Jorginho, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, but ends the game with his side still leading. To Kovacic, Croatian international, who was part of the squad that got to the World Cup. Pablo Fornals is coming off for West Ham United and has been replaced by the former Brentford, or loan from Brentford player, Said Benrahma, who's making his 6th appearance for West Ham today, yet to open his account goal scoring wise. Had a brilliant season with Brentford, who were so close to being promoted themselves, losing that playoff final to Fulham. Here's Kovacic getting involved for the first time. It's absolutely hammering now. You can hear the rain, I would imagine, where you're listening on the roof of Stamford Bridge with no fans in the ground. Here's Rice, halfway line, lovely ball out to the wide right hand side, where Coufal makes a bit of a mess of trying to control it, but nonetheless steers it back to Declan Rice. But he's gone backwards now. We're almost midway through the second half. No addition to the scoreline from that goal, which was headed in on 10 minutes by Thiago Silva. Here's Noble for West Ham, and he gets it back and just holds off his man Kante and plays it out wide to Coufal. Wants to cross, no space. Back it comes again to Mark Noble. He's probably had more touches than anyone in the second half. Mark Noble, he's trying to pull the strings for West Ham in midfield. He's never scored against Chelsea in 23 previous meetings with them. Noble, as the ball is played forward towards Allaire. This is Jared Bowen. Bowen finds Cresswell. Cresswell cuts it back. In it comes. The shot is scuffed rather by Benrahma with virtually his first touch, and Chelsea get the ball away, but West Ham are still knocking on the door.
Yeah, like you say, Noble's trying to get hold of the game and by the scruff of the neck, and he's making it tick, and West Ham can get down this side with Cresswell and maybe more players into the box, and West Ham might get another chance.
They've certainly been the better team in the second half. They were the better team for 20 minutes of the first half as well. Aaron Cresswell will take the throw. Here's Benrahma. Rice is beaten to the punch by Tammy Abraham. Now Werner trying to get down the touchline, but he's run the ball out of play. David Moyes acts as an auxiliary ball boy and passes it to Aaron Cresswell. Another unhappy visit to Stamford Bridge for David Moyes, whose previous 15 games here, none of which have ended in him winning the game. Here's Angelo Ogbonna for the Hammers, finding Aaron Cresswell. Back to Ogbonna again, and now Balbuena, fit again after a slight groin problem which kept him out of the last game. Now it's Rice, under pressure from Mount, his mate. As you say, there's no love lost, or there's no friendship when you get out on the field, is there? Declan Rice inside the centre circle, away out wide to Coufal, who rather overhits the ball forward, and it rolls into the penalty area occupied by the green-shirted figure of Edouard Mendy. West Ham will be, I think, furious if they don't get something out of this game, because they've dominated probably 60% of it, really.
Yeah, you're right, and they've had some good half chances as well, West Ham, especially Haller. I remember at the start of the second half, the header from Cresswell. You think you'd like him to hit the target, but little chances like that, I think West Ham have had better than Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree. What they haven't done yet is test Mendy, which they need to do. Ball hooked in field by Noble. Here's Bowen, who's been busy, gets the cross in. Difficult cross, really. He couldn't wrap his foot around it, and he's ended up knocking the ball behind Edouard Mendy's goal. 20 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea could be heading back to 5th place in the Premier League. They'd only be 2 points behind second place Leicester if they win tonight. Good home record generally this season. They've only lost to Liverpool. That was back in September. Frank Lampard with the rain falling onto his black coat, looking on as Mendy knocks the ball upfield. Here's Noble. West Ham get it forward. Benrahma chases. Azpilicueta gets his head to it. He's played a captain's role for Chelsea in the second half. He's made 2 fantastic blocks, and he's been very busy elsewhere on the field. Mendy delaying before he picks the ball up. Goalkeeper clears it up towards the edge of the penalty area. It's not a very good touch, and it's fallen to Werner, who couldn't control it, and Balbuena managed to survive. It was Vladimir Coufal, I think, who made a real mess of the contact there. He sliced it behind himself, really, which just for a moment Werner might capitalise. Here's Abraham finding Pulisic. Great tackle by Benrahma. That was good play by him on as a substitute, and West Ham have won a free kick, but they are going to have to be careful, West Ham. That was poor play by Coufal at the back, and it's fortunate really for West Ham that Werner doesn't seem to be about his game at the moment, because he might have damaged them there.
Yeah, it was a great chance for Chelsea, and like you say, I think West Ham are lucky that Werner's playing him a little bit with no confidence.
Exactly. Here's Noble Spreading it out wide, and Coufal with a high hanging cross towards Soucek, who's found Benrahma on this near side. Benrahma finds Cresswell to Declan Rice, bit of space in midfield for him. 1-2 with Noble, but they haven't made any great ground here. But Rice plays a wonderful ball. Bowen, Coufal tries to knock it back into the penalty area on the full. It's blocked by Chelsea, but Coufal will cross this time, and again Thiago Silva. I think Chelsea are benefiting enormously, aren't they, from the huge experience that Thiago Silva and Cesar Azpilicueta have at the back. It's still absolutely teeming down with rain as Bowen gets the ball in. Chance for West Ham. Here's Benrahma heading away towards Haller, but it drops into the gloves of Edouard Mendy. Just for the moment, West Ham through Soucek thought they might have an opportunity on goal here. It was a cross in. Soucek just couldn't really get his head over the ball, and when Benrahma headed it back across the face, it was the keeper there ahead of Haller. 17 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge. A very, very, very wet Stamford Bridge at the moment. Here's West Ham, though. They're much the better side, and yet they haven't found a way through. Nice touch by Benrahma, and then a dummy by Cresswell doesn't come off, and Chelsea pinch it back. Here's Pulisic on the halfway line, finds Kovacic. Kovacic is fouled by Ogbonna. It's going to be a free kick to Chelsea, who have defended well, to be fair. Off the back of back-to-back defeats, this would be a very, very welcome 3 points for Chelsea if they can hang on. Here's Emerson finding Mason Mount. Now Mateo Kovacic, who finds Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta midway inside the West Ham half. Finds Pulisic. Azpilicueta again. Back to halfway. It's Zouma. And Chelsea, for the first time, perhaps even in this half, only 15 minutes away from the end of the game, are enjoying a little spell of possession. This is Kovacic in central midfield, finding Azpilicueta. Back to Kovacic again. He's had plenty of touches since coming on. Now it's Kante, who spins it away towards Emerson. Emerson on as an early substitute for the injured Chilwell, but caught in possession there by Coufal, who batters it away for a throw-in on the far side. Managers. Sorry, go on.
I just think West Ham need to be careful that Chelsea don't get another foothold in the game and play at their tempo, because West Ham had Chelsea at their pace, and Chelsea was struggling a little bit for me.
Mount was trying to make an incursion there, but it's been hoofed away by West Ham. Well, all West Ham's pressure will be undone if Chelsea get a goal. There's 15 minutes left. You'd be hard put to make a case for West Ham getting back in it from 2-0 down. Balbuena will take the free kick and get it back into play for the Hammers, who still looking for that equaliser. It's a lovely flick though by Abraham, and at the other end Timo Werner down the left hand side for Chelsea, looking to attack Coufal. He's inside the box now. Great tackle by Vladimir Coufal. The ball goes out of play right by the corner flag on that far side. It's going to be a throw in to Chelsea. It's a bit more positive from Werner, but not much that he's tried has come off today. If he had converted as he should have done just before half time, then Chelsea might well have had this game wrapped up. As it is, 1-0 is always a very slender scoreline. Emerson has the ball in his hands on the far side, preparing to throw the ball into play. He finds Kovacic. Here's Kante, and now Pulisic across field to Azpilicueta. Back it goes by Chelsea. Now Thiago Silva, who sprays it away towards the near side. And Azpilicueta again playing the ball forward, intercepted by Declan Rice, with Pulisic having his eyes on a run down the right hand side. You can hear David Moyes barking instructions. Ogbonna's won the ball strongly for West Ham, but they only succeeded in putting the ball out of play, and you just worry slightly maybe that West Ham's momentum might have ebbed away a little bit in the reign of Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea are now beginning to, as you said, get a foothold in the game. I mean, you know, they shouldn't really need to get a foothold at 1-0 up, but I know exactly what you mean. They need to start playing, because West Ham have players who can damage them. Here's Mason Mount for Chelsea. Out wide it goes to Werner. Werner shoots. Tammy Abraham's there, puts the ball in the net. Is there a flag? We'll wait and see, but Chelsea think they've got a second goal. It was Werner's ball in. Abraham was unmarked, and it was a simple task to tap the ball into the net. And Chelsea are smiling. They've got a second goal, and it might well be one that wins the game. And that is heartbreak for West Ham United, who've worked so hard to get back into the game. But Werner, who hasn't had the best of evenings, provided the ball in, and Abraham was definitely onside. That's terrible defending by West Ham, you'd have to say, Paul, but it's 2-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely. Werner, I don't know if he's gone for a shot there and scuffed it a little bit, but as a back four player for West Ham, you'd be very disappointed playing Abraham's on there, because the line wasn't great, and it's just an easy tap in, and that could seal the game for Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first time Tammy Abraham's ever scored against West Ham in 4 appearances against them. It's his 6th goal of the season, and to all intents and purposes you would think that will wrap up the 3 points for Chelsea. That said, West Ham produced a thrilling finale, didn't they, last season at the London Stadium, to win by 3-2. But Tammy Abraham's got his goal, and Chelsea will be breathing a lot more comfortably now than they were 5 minutes ago. Here's Pulisic finding Abraham, and Pulisic again. Pulisic driving forward. This is a wonderful run by the American. Finds Mason Mount out wide inside the box. His cross. There's Pulisic. Here's Abraham, and it's another one. And he's got 2 goals inside a minute, and it's 3-0 to Chelsea, and that really is game over. Christian Pulisic was the instigator. Mason Mount with the cross. Tammy Abraham from a tight angle has found the net, and Chelsea are 3-0 up.
Yeah, that was the Chelsea we know there. That was fantastic play from Kante into Pulisic. Abraham, he ends up on the halfway line and then ends up in their box scoring a goal. So fantastic play from Chelsea. There was a great break.
It really was. Pulisic, we know what he's capable of. He almost scored himself with a header. Cool finish by Abraham. They're not always the easiest. It's a very tight angle, but he had most of the goal to aim at, and well, he was unerring with his finish. So he's got a couple, and Chelsea, in the twinkling of an eye, almost literally have put the game to bed.
Yeah, Chelsea, that second goal killed West Ham, I think, because they thought they was still in it, but the second goal and the third one straight after is definitely put West Ham to bed now.
Edem says, I was on edge until the second goal. Now I can sleep tonight. Enjoying the commentary live from La Paz in Ghana. Well, very, very quick succession, those 2 goals. I wonder if they were as close together as the 2 Scott McTominay goals for Manchester United against Leeds yesterday. They've come at a different end of the game for Chelsea, but it's a quick fire Tammy Abraham double, which will confirm that Chelsea will be 5th in the Premier League going into Boxing Day. They have 25 points, barring something extraordinary from West Ham. Next up for Chelsea, Arsenal at the Emirates, then Aston Villa here, and then Manchester City before they play Morecambe, who are 5th in League 2. That's the 4th tier of English football in the FA Cup. West Ham United actually play an even lowlier club, Stockport County, who used to be a league team but are now in the National League, a non-league team. West Ham go there. There are 93 places in the English football pyramid between West Ham and Stockport County. That's not going to be foremost on David Moyes' mind. He's going to be furious, I think, because you could argue that probably West Ham have been the better side for 2/3 of the game, but they're losing by 3-0. they couldn't find a way through to equalise, and then they've particularly the first goal, dreadful defending. Here's Abraham, who's on a hat-trick, and of course was trying to flick it into Pulisic to launch another attack, and he's furious with himself that he didn't find his teammate. But if you picked up a newspaper or looked on a website and saw Chelsea 3, West Ham 0, you might be fooled into thinking that it was straightforward for Chelsea. But it hasn't been really, has it?
No, it hasn't. Yeah, I think when you're on top though, like West Ham were, I think you need to nick a goal, and that opens the game back up. Where when Chelsea are 1-0 up, with one counter attack, Chelsea can go up that end and score. So disappointing for West Ham, but I think Chelsea have looked bright on the counter attack in this last 10 minutes.
The one thing West Ham haven't done, I don't think they have, is get a shot on target. And you can't really win a game without doing that, can you?
No, that's right.
They've had lots of the play, lots of the inside the Chelsea final third. But when you look, Thiago Silva's header was a splendid one, and two sort of poachers' goals from Tammy Abraham. In the end, that's been the difference, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. And like you say, Mendy hasn't had a shot to save really, so a few crosses into the box, but nothing that's made him worry.
David Sullivan, the West Ham owner, is looking on wearing one of those familiar Russian hats. I don't think it's going to protect him from the rain. It would probably weigh half a tonne by the time he walks home. I doubt he walks, actually. It's a chauffeured Rolls Royce or something. Kai Havertz is on for Chelsea, and Christian Pulisic has gone off. Well, we said that Pulisic hadn't looked great, but it was a brilliant little run, wasn't it, ahead of the second goal for Chelsea. He really turned it on then, and that's what he can do. Here's Benrahma for West Ham, tackled by Kai Havertz with his first touch. He's had a difficult time, Kai Havertz, since he joined the club from Bayer Leverkusen. He's had COVID, but I gather he's had COVID badly. He's been quite ill. A lot of players have tested positive without any effects at all, but I gather he's had a nasty dose of it, so let's hope that he stays fit and healthy. Good to see him back, only 21 years of age. Here's Bowen for West Ham, finding Ogbonna, but with 6 minutes left, West Ham know the writing is on the wall now. They'd probably enjoy a consolation goal to a degree, but they're not going to improve on their position of 10th. Wolverhampton Wanderers would have overtaken West Ham had they won earlier at Burnley, but they didn't. They lost by 2-1. Here's Declan Rice steaming forward for West Ham, lays it off to Coufal. The cross is headed away by Azpilicueta, and here's Bowen again, who's done as much as anyone for West Ham to try and win the game for them. It hasn't been enough, but he's played pretty well again. I've enjoyed what I've seen of him this season. I think he's been excellent generally. Cresswell all the way back to Fabianski. 5 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge. A fourth would be cruel, I think, on West Ham, because they don't really deserve to lose 3-0, but 4 would be awful.
Yeah, the scoreline don't reflect the game,
no,
really.
it really doesn't. But that's sometimes the way, isn't it? And as I said, if you can't finish and your opponents can, I mean, that's all it takes, really. But
and like you say, that's what people look at, 3-0.
Oh yeah, understandably so. Here's West Ham coming forward late on with Bowen just drifting in from that right hand side, plays a diagonal ball which is really well intercepted by Zouma. Chelsea have defended well, to be fair, haven't they? Here's Kovacic trying to get it forward. It's intercepted by Mark Noble. The only disappointing thing really for Chelsea was losing Chilwell so early. I'm not sure how bad that injury was. I mean, you would know if you turn your ankle. I mean, as long as there's no ligament damage, it's not a major one, is it? Probably.
No, yeah, and like you say, you'd like to think he's not done it too bad, and it was just a little challenge from Bowen that was not meant really, and wasn't even a tackle, so hopefully nothing's too bad.
He's got 5 days to recover. We're back on Boxing Day. I think I'm doing Leicester against Manchester United. You're in Boxing Day, Paul? You doing again?
Yeah, I think I'm in. Yeah.
Here's Mark Noble finding Aaron Cresswell, who picks out Azpilicueta. It's scooped away by the Chelsea captain up to Havertz. Lovely ball in field to Kovacic. Kovacic being pressured by Rice manages to find Thiago Silva. He's a wonderful figure of calm authority, isn't he, Thiago Silva at the back? And also, I mean, he's a really good passer of the ball. He's a centre-half who can play, isn't he? It's not surprising that he's had such a wonderful career.
No, I think he's been fantastic tonight for Chelsea. Like you say, he's so calm, he reads it so well, and he can pass it and he can edit like he's shown.
He's not far off 100 caps for Brazil, I think, as well. But Chelsea will be happy now. They were never comfortable at 1-0 until that second goal went in. So this is a relief, really, as much as anything else. But they've got the points. They've ended a 2-match losing run, which is important. And next, as I say, game is another London derby against Arsenal. West Ham have got Brighton and then Southampton away, and then Everton before Stockport County, which is Stockport is just south of Manchester. They used to be a league team for a very long time. They've been out of the top 4 divisions for quite a while. Here's Azpilicueta. That's nice by Chelsea, but Havertz has lost out to Soucek. But now Kante coming forward for Chelsea. It's N'Golo Kante. It's a great ball. It's Havertz, and he hits the bar. Oh, he would have loved a goal, and he's cursing the fact that he hasn't got one. He hit it hard and high, but perhaps too high. It rattled the crossbar and went over the top, and West Ham are fortunate, really, that it isn't 4.
Yeah, that's Werner again. I think playing with confidence, he scores there, but he's just hit it with power. It's hit the bar and it's gone too high.
He's almost tried too hard, doesn't he? That's probably what happens when you haven't scored. It wasn't a brilliant first touch. It took the ball away from him a little bit. He's had 2 really good opportunities at the end of each half to end what is now going to be 9-game spell without a goal, but it hasn't quite worked for him. Here he is, though, again on the ball, and he's not heading for the corner flag. He wants Chelsea to attack. He wants to set up chances. He wants to get another chance himself, but that cross came to nothing. We're in the 90th minute now. I don't think there'll be a huge amount of stoppage time. It's at the feet of Lucas Fabianski. The weather hasn't improved. It's still absolutely teeming with rain in West London, but Chelsea won't mind that. They've done the job. They've got themselves up to 5th, and it's funny, isn't it? You know, you lose 2 games, suddenly you're down in 8th and thinking, oh my goodness me, we're off the pace. You win 1 game, and you're only 2 points behind the team who are in 2nd, and only 1 point behind Manchester United in 3rd. So Jared Bowen is coming off for West Ham United to allow Ryan Fredericks to come on. Fredericks making only his 4th appearance of the season. This is 50th West Ham United appearance, but it will be short-lived because he has just about only stoppage time to play. That's David Moyes just saying, get on and have a run out. Not going to be able to affect the outcome of this one. Here's Kai Havertz finding Werner. That's nicely done between the 2 Germans. We're into 3 minutes of stoppage time at Stamford Bridge, but the die is cast and the issue has been settled with those 2 very, very quick Tammy Abraham goals in the 78th and 79th minutes at Stamford Bridge. Here's Thiago Silva, who got the other goal with a bullet header as it's flicked over the top by Mount, away by Balbuena, and then Coufal. Balbuena puts his foot on the ball and Coufal finds his Czech mate Soucek. Now it's Cresswell. He's put the ball out of play, and almost a minute of the stoppage time period has elapsed. Thiago Silva across to Emerson. We wouldn't have expected to have 80 minutes on the pitch, but came on early as a sub. Here's Zouma finding Kovacic, another of the substitutes. This is Mason Mount. Chelsea just knocking it around, using up time, really waiting for the final whistle from Chris Kavanagh, our referee. We've barely mentioned him, which is always good, and we haven't had any VAR, which is excellent. Here's Werner finding Kovacic. He's going backwards at the moment. It's all very perfunctory at the moment from Chelsea as Werner collects the ball in centre midfield, plays the ball out. It's a useful looking ball. Here's Azpilicueta. There might be one more chance for Chelsea. Azpilicueta's cross is blocked by Benrahma, but it comes back to N'Golo Kante. Here's Kovacic. Outside of his foot across field to Thiago Silva. Mason Mount. Chelsea are pushing and probing and looking for a fourth. Here's Kante finding Mount again. And edge of the box is Abraham. He's on a hat-trick trying to get on the end of the through ball from Havertz, but he can't do so. And that chance just goes begging. Abraham holds his head, but no real harm done. We're in the last of the 3 minutes added on by the referee. And we're going to end with a Chelsea victory before we all get ready to celebrate Christmas. Here's Benrahma for West Ham. Mere seconds left now. Crossfield ball is intercepted by Mount and then headed away by Emerson to Thiago Silva. Can't think a single moment in this entire game where Thiago Silva hasn't made the right option.
No, he's been fantastic.
Yeah,
and with I know Zouma ain't young, but he's younger than him, and he's been fantastic to learn from.
He certainly has. That's the final whistle. The two managers drenched to the skin shake hands, but it's Frank Lampard who's the happier of the two. Chelsea winning a game which they never really dominated, but a goal by Thiago Silva in the first half, and then two quick-fire goals from Tammy Abraham ensured that it's Chelsea who celebrate victory in this derby between the two, and we can reflect on a scoreline of Chelsea 0, West Ham 0. Chelsea have a corner. It's an outswinger, and it's headed in by Thiago Silva. Bullet header from the Brazilian, and Chelsea have the lead. Well, he couldn't have connected with that any better, Thiago Silva, and from the moment it left his forehead, the net was always going to bulge, and it did. Chelsea 1, West Ham 0.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great ball in from Mason Mount, and I think Thiago Silva's lost his man on the edge of the box, and it's a bullet header, like you say. And as soon as he's left his head, it's always rustling the net.
Here's Mason Mount for Chelsea. Out wide it goes to Werner. Werner shoots. Tammy Abraham's there, puts the ball in the net. Is there a flag? We'll wait and see, but Chelsea think they've got a second goal. It was Werner's ball in. Abraham was unmarked, and it was a simple task to tap the ball into the net. And Chelsea are smiling. They've got a second goal, and it might well be one that wins the game. Pulisic driving forward. This is a wonderful run by the American. Finds Mason Mount out wide inside the box. His cross. There's Pulisic. Here's Abraham. And it's another one. And he's got 2 goals inside a minute, and it's 3-0 to Chelsea, and that really is game over. Christian Pulisic was the instigator. Mason Mount with the cross. Tammy Abraham from a tight angle has found the net, and Chelsea are 3-0 up. And so it ended 3-0 to Chelsea. Not the result perhaps you wanted, Paul, but West Ham had periods where they dated the game, but in the end it was the finishing of Chelsea that was superior, and that was the difference.
Yeah, that was a massive difference. I think Chelsea took their chances when they got them, albeit West Ham was majority on top of the game for 60% of the game, like you said earlier, but West Ham just could not get a clear-cut chance to take and maybe get back into the game.
Well, Paul, my thanks to you. Have a good Christmas. It's been great working with you once again. It's finished 3-0 here to Chelsea. Don't forget, earlier today, Burnley defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-1 at Turf Moor, which lifted them out of the bottom 3. Chelsea are now 5th in the Premier League table after 14 games. West Ham stay in 10th, but significantly, this win for Chelsea off the back of 2 defeats means they're only 2 points behind Leicester City in second, and 2 wins behind Liverpool, who lead the table going into Christmas. That's it from me. I'd like to wish you all have a lovely Christmas. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, whatever you do, stay safe. It's been a privilege as ever, and thanks for the tweets. We'll be back for more on Boxing Day. Merry Christmas to one and all from Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talk Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Talk Sport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.